How strange was kind of the scenario coming into this, knowing what you do ahead of time?
Yeah, it's tough. I was obviously over 18 seasons been in this position before. Not a ton, but a couple times, where you got a chance down to the last two games. Some even going into the last game of the year. But certainly been a part of a few where you're eliminated beforehand. I think it's a test of the character of the guys and the respect they have for the organization and the game and the coaches and all. And so I do feel like that there's no disputing that today in terms of the effort and the energy of which the guys played with. That doesn't always mean you're going to win the game, but the approach was professional. And I think the guys, Shane did a good job last night, and then the guys, the message amongst all of us was like, hey, we get to play in an NFL football game. We signed up for all of them. They pay you for all of them, and you go out there and play. The thought of meaningless games, which I know that gets thrown around, and it is in the sense of it doesn't affect the postseason. There's no impact on the postseason, but to say a game is meaningless is not in my DNA, and I don't think it's in these guys, obviously what you saw today from an effort standpoint, because those games we played in the backyard when we were 10 years old weren't meaningless, right? And nobody gave a rip about those. But you went home crying or you went home happy, So there's no such thing. And that's the philosophy of everything matters. Everything we do matters. There's no meaningless conversation, So I think that's just a personal approach. But I think there was a lot of guys in the locker room that share that same sentiment. And I thought that effort was clear today. But it wasn't enough, right? The effort, I don't think the effort's ever been questioned of these guys. But it doesn't mean you're going to win the game. And I probably in a lot of ways, Seattle, the way we handled the approach, which I thought was perfectly handled coming in off 3 days, 3 days of practice and 5 years out. But I thought this is probably the worst game I've had of the three. Just couldn't get in really any sync or rhythm. And obviously a couple mistakes that cost us, certainly the interception. Again, it's been a blast to be out there and prepare each week with these guys and fight with them, and just hate we haven't been able to get it done.
Shane said that he would evaluate who starts next week at a later time. But if this was your last NFL start in the last chapter, perhaps, how would you explain this part of it?
Yeah, well, if it is, and again, I'm going to be on board and supportive of whatever the organization, Shane, and however that decision is going to come to be. I'm sure I'll have some conversation. It won't just be a blindside Tuesday, conversation from him. And I'm going to be on board to do what's best for the guys. If this was the last one, I told you guys I wasn't going to have any regrets about coming back, and I don't. It's other than us not winning, right? Us not winning. It's been an absolute blast for 3 weeks. I wouldn't, if I go back and say, all right, now everything's going to happen. What are you going to do? I'd do it all again. It's been absolutely awesome. If it's the last one, it's the last one. I thought the last one was walking off the field in Buffalo, walking up that tunnel, and I was fine with that. And that one had tears those few days after it, and I was at peace with that being the last one. So certainly, if it is, I got 3 bonus games that I never saw coming, and couldn't be more thankful that I got the opportunity.
Philip, if this was it, this would be it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. George Foreman type of thing.
No. I'll be right back. I'll be right back on the sideline, which I'm sure many watching probably said that's probably where you belong. So.
What did it mean to have the kids in the building today here?
Yeah, it was awesome. I don't know exactly how many, but 25 plus or so guys came up. A lot of them seniors that are graduating, some of them young players that I'll still have for the next couple of years. So that was special to have their support and them come all the way up here. It's an 11-hour drive. You're only on one road, but it's a long way. So it was special to see them here before the game. It's been fun seeing some of those videos, and you appreciate those guys, that you got to coach and watch and pull for from the sideline, and now they're pulling for you. It's kind of a unique situation, obviously, and I do look forward to getting back there with them. Certainly wish it was going to be later in the next month or even into February, but I look forward to getting back there with them, kind of getting back. I think it'll kind of hopefully rejuvenate the whole deal. You've been there 5 years. We've had some good runs. Hopefully it kind of kickstarts us in the off season, and we'll carry on how we've been down in Fairhope.
Phil, this is probably a better question for the other guys who've been here all year, but you're going to miss the playoffs. But there was a lot of good this season. I know you watched the team from afar. How would you even put this season into context?
Yeah. It's crazy. We were just talking, a few of us in there. I mean, obviously, I think the hot start is what probably makes the whole thing hurt even more. You know, if it had been one of those just kind of back and forth years the whole year, I mean, shoot, you look up and you find a way to win 9 games or whatever, and you go, shoot, it was just kind of a grinded kind of year. But the fact that they were at 8, so soon, and it's been just a tough last 6-game stretch or so. But I think you got to be careful falling into the trap of, because I've done it since I've been here. Gosh, if we'd have done this and this, we'd have beat Seattle. And, oh, man, if we'd done this, we'd have won. If we'd done this, we'd have beat. But then you can go to the ones that we won. I say we, with all due respect, I wasn't here. The ones you won and go, well, you could have lost that one and that one and that one. You know what I mean? So you can't really play that game. It's the NFL. It's a tough league. 18 teams are going to be going home at the end. Only 14 of them are getting in. So the majority of the NFL doesn't get in. And that's just the cold reality. And I know there's been some franchises that have had some unbelievable runs. This one being one of them, through a stretch. But it's not a given. And so, but I know for those guys, that class of, is it 18, that Quentin's class and Zaire and those guys, that's a heck of a class. I know for those guys, you just know it doesn't last forever. I think that's the hard part too. It doesn't last forever, and you've had one or two appearances, and you just go, man, is the time going to run out? And that's just reality, right? That happened. We had a stretch in San Diego where we went 4 in a row, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we were like, oh, we're going to get one, and then all of a sudden you're just going to skid, and it's the reality of the business we're in.
Mark, you said you thought this was the worst game you played so far. What do you think contributed to that?
Well, I don't know if credit to that defense. I think they were probably as multiple as any of the 3 teams in terms of not letting you really get in any type of comfort level. Obviously, the interception that led to the field goal right there to put them ahead hurt, and I wasn't fooled by any means. It was just a bad throw, and the guy made a good play. But I just meant in the flow of it. Up until that interception, obviously we were playing good enough to be right there, tied or down 3. But I just didn't feel as in rhythm. Had some plays that were good. There's some individual, certain moments that felt good and were good, but just in all, it didn't feel quite as in sync as certainly last Monday.
When it comes to Riley, you've got your eyes on him in the offseason, but being along with him now, how has your viewpoint of him changed?
Yeah, no, Riley's a pro. Riley's going to work at it hard, and obviously I don't want to put a ceiling on anything that he can do, and certainly we'll always continue to pull for him. But I said before he ever got drafted, or even early on when he was at Notre Dame, when I got to be with him and some of his guys, I was like, he's going to be a double-digit guy in the NFL. And to what extent that is, who knows, right? Is he a starter, or is he he's one of those guys that is talented enough throwing it. He's obviously athletic enough to run around, and he's going to work at it, and because he's going to care enough about it that he's going to be around somewhere for a long time.